Hi, hello, welcome to Augmented Teachings. My name is Brandi Pagano, and I'm so happy to be your host today. And of course, I'm here with my co-host, Todd Michael Jackson.
Hi.
He is the founder and co-creator of Augmented Teachings.
And my book just dropped yesterday.
I know. I'm so excited. So excited. I didn't know we were going to talk about that yet, but hopefully our awesome producer can put a little link or something around this video. God is Greater Than Religion just published yesterday. So you guys are actually the first ones to hear about that. So congratulations, Todd.
Thank you very much.
I'm so excited. So proud of you.
Thank you.
This has been seriously on the real though. This has been a work of love, and this has been something that we have been working on for quite some time. And we've put our love, our heart and soul into this project and all of the things that we do. And so with that moving forward, I'm really grateful to be here and to just be able to be candid and real. And some of the people that I feel most comfortable with being candid and real are actually here in the studio today.
They are.
Our very dear friends from House of Frog. We have Robert in the house. So hi, welcome, Robert.
Hey, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning. Good day to you. And we have Cinnamon behind the scenes. So hey, girl. And Nick, actually, our producer behind the scenes too. So it's a really great bunch of people here today. And we have a couple of things that we want to talk about that are on topic. But of course, our candid, real conversations always go in very wonderful ways. And as I always say in real talk, in my real life and here on camera, I believe that everything that needs to be said is said and everything that needs to be heard is heard. So this is kind of a new thing for us. This isn't our normal scripted show. This is kind of a blend of a real talk and a after hours, but it's morning time. So with that being said, before we started the show today, we were talking about some topics that we wanted to bring today to this episode. And part of that was about shared experiences and actually putting into practice what we know, what we believe. And so I'm going to pass it over to Todd. How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing great, actually. So our topic of the day is...
You got to unlock your phone.
I thought you were going to present it.
I was.
And you forgot it.
I did. So the topic of today's show is...
Topic of the day's show is, it's not what you believe, but what you exercise that counts.
That's the real topic.
That's the real topic.
Yeah.
So from my research, on the other side of the veil, there is no Christian. There is no Muslim. There is no Hindu. There is no Buddhist. On the other side of the veil, we are beings of light. And what we do here determines our success on the other side of the veil. The things that we've learned, the things that we've accomplished. And when people realize it's not about what religion you are, what you believe, what your book says, it's how you exercise the love within the book that matters. Mm-hmm. Like one of the spiritual truths, love always.
Right. Love only, love always.
Love always. So when you look at it that way, there is no division. Like I always say is God is love, religion is division. Mm-hmm. It's not, it's something to put us into boxes. In reality, on the other side of the veil, there's no boxes, there's just love. And when we start to gravitate towards that love, we will find more success for ourselves here and for ourselves on the other side of the veil.
I hear what you're saying, and that's why I love to find the commonalities within different religions or spiritual practices or groups or organizations or ways of life, because I look for that unification in that, and I look for the love in that, and the goodness in that. But I do hear what you're saying. Sometimes there's these organizations or groups of people or mindsets or ways or just states of being that create division.
Right.
Because it's all about the me and mine,
right,
and not about the we and that altruism, that we are all one in humanity and we all come from the same source and we all return to that same source.
Right. And not only that, religion isn't the scriptures itself. It's an interpretation of the scriptures.
Exactly.
Right. So we'll look at the LGBTQ community. We have some people use the Bible to embrace the LGBT community, and some religions use the Bible to shun the LGBT community. It's all a perception. It's all an interpretation of those scriptures. You can't have all of them all the time. You have to pick one or the other.
Well, and it's the individual or the collective within that religion or organization or group that all believe a certain way and they understand a certain way, and then they put into practice and they apply that understanding.
Right.
And so that's why we have to be careful with what we're applying and what we are creating for ourselves and others. And it's not so much about the religion itself or the scripture itself, but it's the application of the understanding, right?
Right. So a lot of, like I said, there's scriptures in there that are, very harsh, very judgmental. And they say, well, the Bible says it, and I acted upon it. And then you have wars, religious wars. You have certain things that are not congruent to the success of humanity. And then you have people that are like, no, you know what? I'm gravitating towards these loving scriptures of, love your neighbor and do unto others as you have done unto yourself.
Right.
And then
Unity and oneness.
you find agitation going down because love brings down agitation.
Because it's altering the frequency and the vibration.
Right. And like I said, people always ask me, what religion is the right religion? I was like, there is no such thing. There's only love or lack of love. That's all there is. Religion is just kind of a DMV handbook of how to achieve that, but not all the writers of all the scriptures were in line with God and love.
Well, and I'm really glad that you're bringing up everything that you've brought up, and I want to address that. All the times that we talk about, ideas and understandings, we're not like attacking any certain religions or organizations or people. It's the actions that are being created.
Right.
Is it bringing us closer together, and are we advancing as a society and humanity, or are we creating more division?
Right.
So,
I always look at it this way. If you play it out in your head, well, if I play out this scripture and exercise it in the real world, in the real 3D world, will somebody be hurt physically or emotionally because of it? And then I'm like, okay, if it's no, okay, then it's probably okay. But if it does, then I might have to rethink that.
And that comes down to the application of it. So. Right. That's basically what we are here to talk about, whether it's this show or all the shows, is basically how we are applying that, our knowledge and our wisdom. So we brought you on today's show to join this topic, this conversation, and sometimes we can get pretty deep, and we're piggybacking off of those topics, but the really the thing that brings it all together is applying. Do you have any thoughts or questions that you'd like to bring?
Well, just to kind of add to the conversation going on so far,
please do.
is
Welcome.
that I don't really. I share this perspective of not attacking religions, right? But I definitely can identify religion in a certain way, right? Maybe. Just saying religion, not naming anyone specific. My background experience as an educator, one. Second, I study ancient cultures, language, religions for fun on top of what I do for work. And then, of course, downloads from source and that sort of thing. So my understanding of religion is all religions come from the Roman Empire. Every church, you could trace it back to the colonialism of the Roman Empire across Europe for over 2,000 years. So all the religions after that are derivatives of the Roman Empire's colonialism, even though they have largely different beliefs. The Romans used religion to control the masses from rising up against them because they had conquered so many people. Right, so they mashed in religion, this and that. So it's from my experience and education, religion is largely used for a control mechanism, right? But creator, we are explorers, we are creative beings, we are light and energy, and those restrictions limit our full potential and possibility as an energetic being, right? So for me, I had to separate from those constructs, right? And I almost like I had to get dumb. I had to unlearn.
Yeah.
I had to unlearn what I had learned.
Right. Kind of like that
God,
programming and that conditioning, right?
I had to, what I thought God was, what I thought heaven and hell, all the things, right? I had to deconstruct because in order to grow and move forward, it's a construction business, right?
Yeah.
And any construction business, you don't just start building on top of the house that was there. You got to take that house down. You got to take the roof down. You got to take the concrete out, the slab. You even dig down and get rid of the dirt.
Right.
And you put in fresh, right? And
fresh
so
soil.
I couldn't just build on top of what I had to get rid of that stuff first. And it's a long, extended process to do that. But today I consider the Bible, written over thousands of years from many different authors, heavily edited throughout Europe and the different dynasties and things that were going on. So my whole interpretation of it is I'm not exactly sure if any of it actually happened physically.
Because it's like it's all an interpretation.
I feel it's the whole thing is an allegory for life.
Right.
Right. And so people are so upset because I'm from this area, or I'm from that tribe. And I'm like, those things probably didn't exist. It was just a metaphor.
Exactly.
Right? And you're all bent out of shape in wars and genocide over something that's just supposed to teach you a internal lesson.
Well, and that's the thing. Is that creating more unity on this planet or more division on this planet? Is it raising the frequency and connecting back to source, or is it pulling us back away from source, which is the frequency and vibration of love, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And I always tell people, if you take something from the Bible, treat others the way you wish to be treated. It takes a minute to learn, but a lifetime to master. If you get that done, that one thing, you're on your way. That's all you need to know.
And that's where we put that into practice because we are all one.
Right.
Absolutely.
And literally, I mean, the Bible is a handbook for explaining how we should or should not live our lives. Right. There's stories that are of tragedy, not of success. But when you really get down to the meat and potatoes of it, your job isn't to keep reading the Bible. You don't keep reading the DMV handbook. You start driving eventually. Eventually you're like, okay, got it. I'm going to put this over here, and I'm going to go drive. I'm going to go drive, and I want to learn the lessons that were in the Bible, but I'm going to go learn love and compassion and understanding.
And live them, apply the goodness.
Apply it. And don't use it as a tool, and do not use that Bible as a tool for division. Yeah. That was to teach you, not anybody else. Your guardian angels will gravitate you to where you need to go, to where you need to learn. And other people will have their guardian angels lead them to where they need to learn. And leave it alone. Your job is to be an emissary of love. And that's your job from source, to be an emissary of love. By
developing our soul through all the experiences that we go through.
Right. Unless you do that internal work, your caring nature, best intentions, all of it combined is not really love. It's what you're building up, what you think is love. When you work internally and you build that framework, right, you admit that energy, you emit that frequency. That is the light. It's not a conscious effort like, oh, I have to be kind, I have to treat this person like you're holding your breath, but there's an internal, but inside you're struggling. No, it's got to be, it becomes innate. Right. We have an innate ability to just reflect without the conscious thought of, I have to treat this person that way.
Right. We're not here to become actors. Yeah, we're not here to become actors.
No.
We're here to innately exude love.
Exactly.
And that's where it takes a long time for a lot of people, especially when they live in fear and judgment.
And that fear and judgment actually prevents us from doing that inner work, prevents us from doing the work on ourselves and putting into practice, because we have fear of another, fear of division, fear of the separate and the other, or fear of just fear itself, of not even wanting to go through the process of.
That's what it is.
What is it?
It's the fear. It's the unwillingness, right? Because no matter, even people, because I've been on the side of it, even people that wish to take their life or are suicidal, right? There's a point where there is work to be done, but instead of putting that effort in, they're choosing to stay stuck in that cycle, right? And I was one of those people.
Because it's comfortable, it's known, it's familiar in a sense, right?
Right. And so we're talking about how do we exercise what we believe, right? And our thoughts, like anything else, become just a random thought unless we take action on it, right? Action is what concretes it. Action is what is a demonstration of our willingness to change.
Yes, it is that demonstration.
It's not how well we talk and we convince other and we lead classes or this or that or social media followers.
Right, exactly.
Right? None of that is close to what
it's like, are we walking the walk or are we talking the talk?
But we love some social media followers. Just
yes,
so you know.
please. Hey. Remember to like and subscribe.
Alpha Frog, Spiritual Living, Instagram. But right, and I meet with people a lot every morning. I meet with a group of anonymous people, and people have decades, and they're stuck on the same surface problems. Like this person says something, and it just bothers me so much. And I gave them a smile, did my best, so I was that good person for the day. And I'm like, well, that's all on the external outside.
Right.
But what did you do internally so that does not impact you, what people say?
Right.
Right, because that energy is much louder than your smile.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think I was hearing we were saying earlier about, if I do something and it offends or makes someone right, but that's not always our responsibility.
Oh,
if we're acting out of good intentions and it's triggering someone, they have some internal work to do.
Absolutely.
Triggers are unaddressed issues.
And that's within the imprint of their soul, not ours.
Absolutely.
And that's why you talk about, when we go to the other side of the veil, and talk a little bit more about the veil for people who don't really maybe understand what is the other side of the veil.
That's what I wrote down.
What's that?
What is the path to the veil? How do we see it?
And what is the other side of the veil?
Anytime you're not in a vessel, you're on the other side of the veil. Whether it's here, whether it's there, whether it's over there, does not matter. Once you leave this physical body, you're on the other side of the veil because you're no longer having these five senses record for you. You no longer have anything be imprinted from this 3D reality at any time anymore. You're of a vapor. You know what I'm saying?
It's like your metaphysical self.
Yeah.
Not
You're
physical.
still energy. You're still energy. Like we said, the internal energy speaks louder than the smile on the face, right? You're still energy. And that energy can go anywhere it wants at the speed of thought. So once we're out of these vessels, we're on the other side of the veil, and we can go wherever we want. Now, one of the things that we do is we go through our past life review and we see how well we did, but we also have the caveat of having God's energy on top of that. So what our soul feels too, and how it affected other people, right?
Because there's truly no separation because we're no longer in our body. So it's like, so when you talk about our soul and and God, it's all one and the same. It's just the individualized.
Right.
And
so
We're in a mirror.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. What I do to you, I do to me.
Right.
People don't realize that. So just to the veil, God's recording all your emotions and all your five senses and my emotions and five senses. So make you laugh, I can feel that under the veil.
Now, can I just interject for a second?
Please.
So you say something funny, right?
Yes.
And your intent is, I'm going to make Robert laugh.
Yes.
And then Robert's like, man, I just got triggered. This guy's a jerk or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then you're feeling, because you're triggered, so you may be feeling like irritated or frustrated. And so now your ego may be projecting like, man, he just pissed me off or whatever.
Right.
But then on the other side, when we're outside of these vessels and the egos, then it's like, oh, well, his intent was just to laugh and have a good time, but my ego perceived it as, oh man, you're dogging me out or just whatever that means, right?
I didn't know that trigger was there. Right.
But on the other side of the veil, all intents, all purposes, everything is known because there's no ego to hide and try to justify as, oh, but that was good, but that was bad, or this was okay, this wasn't, or whatever, right?
So even if you upset somebody, but your intent was not to upset them, you're still fine because your intent. you don't get punished for that. You didn't
Your
know.
intent creates your vibration.
Your vibration.
Right.
So yeah, when that's being on the other side that's what being on the other side of the veil is. And we spend most of our time on the other side of the veil. People don't realize we're only here for 80 years if we're lucky. But on the other side of the veil, we're there for tens, hundreds of thousands of years because time is circular, not linear.
Yeah.
And the things we do there, guess what we do there? We relive our past lives. We pick the highlights, right? We pick the highlights of the movies that we created for ourselves and relive them. So I got to this information through my near-death experience research. Right? I've done this for 12 years plus. We have a mutual acquaintance who did it a different way. Would you please elaborate?
Yeah, so he was a friend of ours was sharing that that through astral projection, and he was explaining it because even myself, I believe in all possibilities, but it was hard for me to understand. But he was saying that in one occasion when he was a younger person, he was in a place where he was watching a field with stuff growing in it, and he was by himself, and there was no food or anything like that. And through a dream, he was telling his friends to bring him food. And literally, when he connected with his friends, they said, we had a dream that you were starving and we brought you food and stuff like that. So now I'm in, and he's telling his story.
Yes.
And how he has traveled to the other side of the veil, through meditation or while he's sleeping. And exactly how Todd's explaining it is what he told me. Mm-hmm. And I had never talked to Todd about this particular topic before. Right. And so I have this experience, this story in me. A group of us do, and some other people are sharing their similar experiences, but almost word for word, how we play highlights and we relive, right? His word was, sounds kind of boring. I want to come back and do stuff. I don't want to just watch the film, right?
Right. I want to go experience it, not just watch the reels over and over.
Yeah. But in either case, just a short time after that, a few weeks later, we're here at Todd and Brandi's hanging out, and we have this conversation, and Todd shares this exact same.
I know, and we're like, what?
Almost verbatim.
Yeah.
Right? So it's definitely good in those shared experiences to support that.
The possibility.
The things that we exercise.
Right. And that's so important because what we exercise, when we go back home, what experiences do you want to relive? Mm-hmm. Do you want to sit there and watch Fox News every night and get pissed off at the whole world, which will diminish every experience? Because even, say you go to bed upset because, the libs or Dems or something, because they go one step further. They attack the human, not the policy. They attack the humans. And that's the problem. You go to bed upset. The next day you wake up and you get triggered and triggered and triggered and triggered. Before, somebody saw electric vehicle, they get triggered, because they were taught to hate them. So you go through life with all these triggers and all this anger and all this judgment. What experiences do you have to relive? Because everything that could have been a 7 is now a 5. Everything that was a 5 is now a 3 because you have this being fed hate and division and judgment and punishment. So when you're fed that, you have nothing to work with when you get back home. Maybe Christmas when you're 5, and that's about it. You know what I'm saying? So you have to realize, what do you want to create? Do you want to have all these triggers where you're constantly living in judgment and fear? Or do you want to be able to just go through life? You want to cruise not triggered, or you want to go on a cruise while you're triggered? Right. It just diminishes the amount of
it's not just like
pleasure.
Things that people were feeding you.
Right.
It is the things that you ate
and you
willingly.
Right.
There's the things that you chose.
That you sought out.
And so when you're packing that highlight reel, you're packing that bag for your travel, right? You're packing in that hate. You're packing in that
you're carrying it with you.
And the depths of
those are those bricks, right?
Because what people see of that middle finger on the freeway from one person to another.
Right.
But what they don't see is the inside of the heart. Like, I hope that person dies. I hope they're dead, right? That's what you're packing with you.
Right.
Because that
so
intent
when you're
is
in
with
that
you.
forever travel,
Right.
that is what you're stuck with.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you're left with C grade movies.
Right.
Not blockbuster cool ones, right?
Exactly.
Or some grade A bullshit. I don't know.
Grade
But
A
anyways,
bullshit, right.
so there's a couple things that I wanted to share. So, you got to your understanding through your avenue. We all have our experiences and the ways that we came to be. And so I am so grateful to hear your ways and these other people that we were talking about, who shared these stories and their experiences. And I've gotten to my experiences through meditation and that inner work and following the depths of the shadow self. And, people talk about, well, how do we, make progress as a soul? It's not just knowing this information. It's not just knowing about it or hearing it or listening to it. And it's all about applying it. And, you talk about we store all of these reels and these experiences and everything, right? Mm-hmm. And these memories. And so there's ideas, beliefs, and understandings that this is something called the Akashic field or the Akashic records. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about this in other conversations as well. And everything, that's where all feeling, all intents, all purposes, all of the essence of the experiences are stored. It's like a library of everything. Mm-hmm. And it also gets stored through our senses. So you smell something that it smells good, that activates something in your brain, which is activating something in your body. And then now you're having this is a moment of pleasure. This is a moment of joy. Mm-hmm. Or, this is nasty. I don't like this, whatever that may be. Or, this triggered me. And now I'm thinking something nasty, or it triggered me. And now I'm putting hate out into the world because of whatever reason.
Right.
What is that doing? That's creating an imprint into our vibration that is now being put into the frequency of our Akashic space.
Right.
And so when we go to the other side of the veil, we are now enveloped in that. Now we are immersed in that, in the ethereal realm on the other side of the veil, outside of this physical, right? So that's why I said that's your metaphysical self. And so we as conscious co-creative beings in this reality, in this state of consciousness, we get to alter that. We get to change our Akashic field by our thoughts, our actions, our emotions, because when you are awake and aware and you understand, or at least for a moment, maybe believe that you can shift the construct of your mind, shift your reality through your actions, your thoughts, your emotions, all of those things, and you actually start to apply that, and you actually start to get those results and that feedback like, oh, hey, I'm responding differently. I'm shifting my frequency. Right. I'm putting into practice and I'm putting into action and applying all of these things that I know and believe and learn or experience through meditation or other people's stories. Like, let me do that for myself. Let me see how this is going to feel. Right. And then you keep going and you keep going. And that's how you get there, right? It's through that internal work, that internal process. And then remembering that, we're all one, and eventually at some state of consciousness or state of being, we are all at that same fundamental essence one.
Right. 100%. So people, a lot of people think, well, it was already written by God, so therefore it's already happened. It's like, no. God does not know the future. God knows all potentials of the future. That's the difference. We still have free will. So,
as an individual,
right? You can go left, you can go right, you can go forward, you can go backwards. You can fall to the ground and kick like a dog. God does not know which one you'll be picking for yourself today or any minute thereafter. So you still have a chance to change everything. Yeah. You can change yourself to a higher frequency and take this path instead of that path.
It's all a choice.
So what you're saying is absolutely 100%. Mm-hmm. And on this side of the veil, we call it the Akashic record. Mm-hmm. On the other side of the veil, they call it the Hall of Records. Mm-hmm. So it's same thing though. Everything is stored there.
For the individual soul.
For the individual, because not only is our past life review played back for us, we also use it as learning tools for each other, where we fail tests or where we pass tests.
And that's what we talk about, like taking inventory. Mm-hmm. So it's like, hey, what's the inventory of my Akashic record, And when I go visit there in maybe meditations or, guided imagery or whatever the soul goes through, to get to that point, or when we're outside of this vessel, then we get to take inventory. What's in there? Okay, well, and in my next incarnation, when I get to come here to this planet Earth, this beautiful creation where we get to feel and experience through the senses each other, we talk about that. It's this whole play here at life is God experiencing itself.
Yes.
That we are the conscious co-creators of this experience.
Yes.
And you talk about God as the creator, right? Because God is the essence and the energy and the vibration of this creation. And then we are the experiencers.
Experiencers, yes.
And we get to take those all back home.
It feels, the earth, whatever. It's kind of like the holodeck in Star Trek.
Yeah,
right?
kind of is.
Just, okay, I made a construct for my energetic beings. Now you guys go play.
Right. And the thing
if
is,
you want to think of it like that,
a lot of people
absolutely.
think that it, 7 days, right? God made it 7. No.
There's no time.
God created Mother Nature. God used Mother Nature to create us. Just because it's not in the Bible doesn't mean God did not do it.
Right.
But God, because God is that energy source. It is God evolving itself. That is nature. And then we are that essence of that in these physical forms.
Those are large for people in general because we don't remember who we are, right? So it is hard for people to, one, accept or come to the understanding and realization of what we really are in this vessel, right? And the constructs of religion to even question things, right, stops them from growing and enlarging that understanding or perspective.
We're told not to question.
So that's one thing.
Yeah.
Second is, that free will, that free choice. It started at the moment we were allowed to lower our vibration so we could come experience the 3D world.
Right.
Right. That choice to come down here that was free will.
That was free will.
That's free will starts right there.
And our souls can do it.
Yeah.
Our souls are specifically made to be scalable, to fit in these vessels without turning them into light. So we can
And so to think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So there's certain beings on the other side of the veil, like angels, they're not scalable. They cannot go into it. They can't come to this 3D reality, so they don't come here.
Like their frequency is too high to be able to fragment itself in a sense to come into
They
this
can
vessel.
help us all day long, right?
Assistance, right?
But they can't enter these vessels. We come here to be the experiencer for
And
source.
they're too powerful for a vessel. They would just burn up or something like
Right.
that. But the in that free will coming here, how we're allowed to come here. We have that free will.
Right.
So how can we ever think that we're going to be punished and tormented for the
I
decisions
know. Then we
that
wouldn't
we
come here, like you
make
say.
here when we're saying, go ahead, you're allowed.
Right. And I put that into the book. I said, imagine if you're at, an amusement park, we'll just say Disneyland, but you're at Disneyland, and 2/3 of the people died and never came back to their homes and families. Would you go? Oh, hell no. You know what I'm saying? If they're losing one person a day, I wouldn't go anymore. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't want to take that
If one
chance
person
if it
died
wasn't
a
gonna
day
be
at
good
Disneyland, I would
experience.
not go there. But yet here on this planet Earth, 2/3 of the population of this planet is not Christian. Therefore, is never going to return back home to God and Source. That's BS.
So, like, as a soul and a consciousness, then I would be like, well, I don't even want to risk that. I'm not going there. I'm doing something else. No, thank you.
Right. Never can come back home. If I go there, 2/3 of a chance I'm not, then that's not a good safe bet in Vegas. I'm sorry.
And like you talk, and then so to wrap it all back to the beginning of the show, when you were talking about religion, how it creates that separation, and you were talking about religion as division, and I don't know. There's so many more things that I want to say about that.
There's a lot of ways
Let's do this
that
again.
show could go on for a long time.
I know.
There's
Let's
a
do
lot
this
of
again.
ways these humans divide each other. Let's bring that up. How we divide each other on the next show. What do you guys think?
That sounds great.
Okay,
I
that
love
sounds
it.
good.
Next show starts in 5 minutes.
More coffee, please.
Anyway, so thank you guys so much for saying yes and for doing this show.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thanks for the invite. Really enjoyed it.
This is really
Appreciate
cool.
it.
This is really cool. And speaking of putting into practice, we can't just talk about it. We have to live it. We have to be it, and be that change that you want to see, because it really does start within. And I look forward to all the ways that we get to connect to Source through House of Frog and all the amazing experiences that we get to have. So thank you, and we will see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.